Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. Hopefully everyone is having a fantastic, hold on, I gotta check the day, Saturday. Glad to have you guys all in here for another live stream. Man, the days are moving by too fast, that is for sure. It is already March 14th. 1 year ago today was one of the most significant tornado outbreaks that we tracked here on this channel ever since we started. March 14th, 2025. That was a giant outbreak. And on that same day, we ended up with a historic day 2 high risk from the Storm Prediction Center. Here we are, 1 year later. We've got a day 2 45 SIG for damaging winds and a day 3 45 SIG for overall severe weather across the eastern U.S., which has never happened before ever since the SPC started issuing those day 3 outlooks. Welcome everybody in the chat. I'm not going to individually welcome you guys because there's a lot of you yet again. I just thank you for all being here so far, and hopefully we can get some information out there about this upcoming severe weather threat. So let's go right ahead and switch to our main scene. We're 3 minutes in. That's if you've been here on the channel, that's roughly where I like to switch the scene. And glad to have everybody here once again. We've got a lot to go over. That is for sure. That is for sure. A bunch to go over for the potential of severe weather over the next, well, not really much today. We do have a level 1 out of 5, as you can see by my face cam, but mainly tomorrow and, of course, going into Monday. So let's go ahead and get our outlook up. We're going to stop looping this. We also have a major to extreme for, this is probably a 5 out of 5. I'm pretty sure this is a 5 out of 5 blizzard, an extreme blizzard across likely Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, maybe even into Illinois. Likely going to see isolated spots upwards of 2 feet of snow, and then across lake effect areas upwards of 3 feet of snow will be a possibility. So very significant severe weather event to the south and to the southeast, and a major and or extreme blizzard likely to the north. So before I get into things here, we'll pull up this outlook. I want to make it clear right off the bat, right off the get-go. We are looking at one of the most dynamic systems that we have ever seen in the beginning portions of March. This is probably going to go in the history books in terms of one of the strongest pressures that we have ever seen for just a trough in the early portion of our tornado season. Thankfully, we don't have a lot of moisture. We don't have a lot of moisture associated with this system tomorrow. And then on Monday, our cold front could be too fast. So if this was just a little bit different, slightly different. The trough was maybe just a little bit slower. We would for sure have back-to-back high risks on March 15th and 16th. Very similar to what we should have had back-to-back high risks last year, March 14th and 15th. We had March 15th was a high risk, March 14th should have been high, but instead it was a high-end moderate risk. Very, very similar, eerily said similar sign, just overall upper dynamic pattern. The trough is very similar to March 14th, very, very eerily similar. So before we get all in depth on this, I want to welcome Lucky real quick because I know he's gonna have to go soon. So welcome Lucky to the stream. Glad to see you're back and
What's up,
alive.
yo?
And he's
I am
got to
back and
go, so
alive.
I'll catch you in the next slide. No, I'm just kidding. That's how
Not
it goes.
yet.
So,
I have a little bit. A little more time than I expected. I'll be here for a minute.
so we're gonna skip for now. We are gonna skip the risk that you see on screen. We're gonna go to day 3 for Lucky's sake. Because, well, if you take a look at the outlook here, if you don't know, our dude lives in Raleigh. He is likely going to end up in a moderate risk for damaging winds upwards of 90 to 100 miles per hour out there. So, yeah, he's definitely in for a an event. That's for sure, to say the least. The very widespread, significant damaging wind event going into day 3, which is Monday. And these events, they typically downtrend. They typically downtrend. This one, yeah, it's not started that downtrend just yet. The front has sped up, but something is telling me here that we are probably going to see that slow back down. I really think that we're going to see that slow back down because some of the models have pushed it so far east that I think it would be very difficult for our line to sustain such forward momentum from Arkansas, Missouri, all the way to the coastline of North Carolina in the span of like almost 24 hours going from here to here. And I just don't really see that being a very real possibility. So I'm thinking it's probably going to slow down, at least to some extent, and we're going to end up seeing a significant threat for all hazards. My initial thinking, and I'm pretty sure Lucky's thinking as well, is that this is probably going to be a big wind threat and an embedded tornado threat. We're looking at the chance for prefrontals, but I'm not too confident in prefrontals. And then our lowest threat's probably going to be some hail. So, let me go back over here. Lucky's back on mute. I was about to talk to him and he went back on mute on me. So, yeah, I was going to get his opinion on it, but he's back and forth. So, yeah, that's your outlook. If we go back to categorical, that is not a, we have our different significance now. A moderate risk would be a SIG 2. This is all a SIG 1 for day 3. So this is not a moderate risk. However, we are likely going to see a moderate. If we go back, we'll read this real quick. Just go all the way down here. Primary changes to this outlook, which was 3:30 p.m. Eastern this afternoon. A 45 total severe probability has been added along with, along with minor northeast to southeast expansion of the categorical risk areas. I can't read English, apparently. Portions of the region centered across South Carolina to Maryland may warrant an upgrade to a moderate 4 out of 5 in later outlooks. So that is a may warrant an upgrade. The only way we don't see that is if the front keeps trending east, which I think it's possible. But like I said, at this point, I don't see it going any more east. I think it's going to come back to us and we'll get more in line with the SBC outlook. So, Lucky, I know you got to go soon. You want to give your thoughts on this risk?
You want me to be honest or you want me to lie?
I want you to give a non-biased thought on the risk because you're in the
Non-biased.
risk.
Okay, so non-biased. I do think this
If
is gonna be a
this
very.
risk was in like Arkansas or Missouri away from you, how would you look at it? Kind of like that.
Oh, dude,
A
dude.
non-biased
Oh,
look.
dude. I'm sounding all alarms, yo. I'm I'm letting everyone know that any family that have any of the risk on Monday, I'm letting them know, hey, there's gonna be some pretty bad weather coming through on Monday. Just make sure y'all have y'all's tornado plan and just
Hmm.
severe weather plan in general. Stack up on like waters and stuff, and preferably please don't go outside. Preferably, especially if you're not experienced with weather at all.
Yeah, don't touch
Like
the grass tomorrow, according to Lucky.
on Monday.
Or Monday, yeah, not tomorrow. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean
But my bias
tomorrow too, because you got an enhanced over here.
tomorrow
So
too. Yeah, also tomorrow too. But if you y'all, if y'all want my biased like thinking, this is not happening. It's just not gonna. It's not gonna happen. Like I'll know it's gonna happen when I'm in the middle of it and I get something worth that risk. But right now, y'all, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm not even stressed right now. Like, yes, I know it's gonna be a big day. I know that. I've already understood that. But it's like something about me. Yeah, it's just I don't believe it's real. I just don't. Like, I really don't.
so do you think this cold front is gonna stay with the eastward trend, or you think it's gonna go back?
I agree with what you're saying. I think it's gonna. I don't think it can go any more east. I just don't think so.
Yeah, I think we've hit about as east as it can go.
So if anything, it's either gonna stay where it's at right now, or it's just gonna go back west, which I think is gonna go back
Yeah,
west.
that's what I'm
As
thinking.
opposed to
Either
yeah,
stay where it is now on like the RRFSA, or go back west. I don't think we're gonna see a scenario like the HRRR where it's just an overconvected slop fest. Um, TRG
someone said
finally chasing.
chasing.
We chased
Yeah,
Sunday. We chased Sunday.
yeah. We chased Sunday. It was just off stream, y'all.
And
I
I don't know if I'll be able to stream this moderate. I'm gonna try to, but unfortunately it's on a work day. So um the thing is I can sacrifice my phone and live stream it. The problem is it is deadly. Streaming without, being able to chase without radar is a deadly thing. So the only way I could do it is if me and Lucky go into one car, which we've thought of, and we're just 50-50 on that.
yeah.
Like, do we risk live streaming it, to help people get weather aware, or do we risk live streaming it and risk our own lives live streaming it, or do we just lock in and try to get a tornado? So we're split on what to do on Monday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is an all hazards threat. Both of these days are all hazards threat, but both of these days are our highest threat is damaging winds. Like if we switch over here, so this is tomorrow's outlook, which is an enhanced risk. And you can see we are going to see a big line. Now, there is a chance for a strong tornado or two, mainly being embedded in the line. But to be honest with you, I'm not too interested in tomorrow. I'm truly not. I really am not that interested in tomorrow's tornado threat. I think people are way too focused on the tornado threat and not conveying how bad of a damaging wind threat it's going to be. I'm really not that concerned for the tornado threat tomorrow. Yeah, Lucky, the HRRR, by the way, like that has the main risk being 2 p.m. up in freaking DC.
Yeah, I'm not going there. I did say chase mode. I did say I was gonna chase, but I'm not going up to DC, y'all. I love y'all, but I'm not going up to DC because I gotta be back home that night, y'all. Because I got school the next day.
Yeah, so there's your tornado risk, and I do agree with the tornado risk still, but it's kind of like I almost want to say it's a derecho day. It's going to be probably a borderline derecho day, but sometimes these models can overdo the intensity of the line and make you think it's going to be a derecho, and then half the line is completely unwarned, severe wise. So I'm very iffy on my thoughts for tomorrow and Monday. Both days I'm uncertain on, and it's all because of the timing of these storms. The timing of the cold front is everything, but either way, both days are going to be impactful for sure. It's just hard to say how high end we are talking. How high end on that level 1 through 5 scale, which right now both days are at a level 3. level 3 tomorrow, level 3 on Monday. So, again, I don't know if Lucky heard my talk at the beginning, but if we switch to the 500 millibar, I'm dead serious, we are talking about one of the most impressive 500 millibar trough ejections that the U.S. has seen in early to mid March. The only other one that I could think that is like right there with it is probably March 14th last year. 1 year ago today is something very similar to this. I mean, that is like a potential analog. That is how close it is. March 14th is like a potential analog because these are so. Why the heck is it green? Okay, yeah, 156 mile an hour jet stream. Yeah, just your average insane jet stream. I like to measure the jet stream in knots though. But like I said, I think we're gonna see some uptrends, and the SPC I think has predicted those uptrends. Like one of the viewers in chat, they heard my thoughts before the SPC issued this day two outlook, and they had I think it was yesterday, they had a day 345 sig, I want to say. They had that out yesterday. Or maybe it was no, I think it was a 30 sig one that they had out yesterday. I didn't agree with it. And then earlier this afternoon, we started seeing uptrends. And so it's like the SPCs over here predicting the uptrends. Now that is impressive, being able to predict uptrends. And then on day 3, you could see that pink area as well, that 45 sig risk, likely going to be for damaging winds. And I feel like we're going to end up with an uptrend on that too. Because like me and Lucky both said, I just don't think we can trend further east. I find it a bit unrealistic if we trend further east. And I mean, for this line to cover that much distance that quickly, I mean, we are talking about, let's see, if we go ahead and measure this. Let's see here. I'm doing math. We're going to do 870 miles. Yeah, so that's 870 miles in 24 hours or less. And I mean, it's definitely possible, if the storm keeps moving at 45 miles per hour and doesn't stop at all, and it just stays a damaging wind threat. It is something that could happen, but I mean, there's only so far east it can trend because eventually it's going to run out of room to trend east because this trough, the trough is going to be over the central U.S. So it can't trend like all the way out to sea with the whole threat. But the threat can trend slightly more east. Best case scenario, which I think is unlikely, but best case scenario is it does trend a little bit more to the east. And, this whole risk is shifted to the east, more towards the coastline. Any discrete sell Sunday? Possibly. Possibly. But the thing is, the environment on Monday is more impressive than the environment tomorrow, which is insane. Literally, me and Lucky are going to have like a better environment than tomorrow's severe weather risk. Specifically Lucky. I don't know. I think my area is a little bit too far to the west. But this is the high-end environment for tomorrow. If we take a look at the line, I mean, the line just doesn't really do much on the NAM 3K here. So we could take a look at, let's switch over to the RRFSA, because I feel like that's got the best handle on things right now. Because I feel like using the HRRR is not going to be accurate. So if we take a look here at our instability, you can see our instability is roughly going to be about 1,000 across our main risk area. It's going to be between maybe 500 to 1,500, right around there. And if we just pull this simulated reflectivity out, you can see there is a chance that we end up with some prefrontals in front of the main line, both in Arkansas and in Tennessee. But the problem is our environment isn't extraordinarily impressive. This is back to the HRRR, and you can see we are only in the greens to the yellows. Now, I pretty much know for a fact this is underdoing the threat for tomorrow, because I don't see a way how we end up with such a dynamic system and we only end up with this type of environment. I find that next to impossible. So I think the HRRR is substantially underdoing tomorrow's event. But even if prefrontals do fire, they're going to have to be directly ahead of the line like this in order for them to be tornadic and be any type of strong tornado threat. They're going to have to fire directly ahead of the line, like what I have seen it compared to April 2nd, 2025. I think it was 2025, last year. I'm pretty sure it was last year. The high risk we had out here in Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, Kentucky, and Missouri, where we had that huge sloppy line that was producing widespread 60-mile-an-hour winds. And then we started seeing supercells fire from Mississippi, move north, and we ended up with a couple strong tornadoes and a violent torr too in northeastern Arkansas because of that prefrontal. You still here, Lucky?
Yep.
You want to add anything to day 3?
Not really, honestly.
Because
Not really.
I'm gonna just keep on yapping. I know you're gonna have to go soon, so anything you want to add for like tomorrow or day 3?
Not not really.
I wonder if it's my headphones that are lagging or if it's Lucky's microphone that's lagging. Did he cut out for you guys right there a bit? I can't tell because my headphones are so old at this point. I need new ones, so I can't tell if it's my headphones fading
It probably was me.
or Lucky.
It probably was me. That's usually the case.
Yeah, there is a chance for a derecho tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, definitely. There is definitely a chance for a derecho tomorrow. And thank you for the $5 donation, Weather Warrior. Appreciate it. Let me go to here. There you go. So there's your wind risk for tomorrow, and definitely the 45 sig area. That's the main. That's definitely the main area for severe storms. But I'm definitely a little bit iffy on it because we still have models like the NAM 3K, which doesn't show nearly as much of a high end scenario. It still shows a large squall line across these areas in here. But once it gets past central Tennessee, it dies out. And before it gets to eastern Arkansas, it's just not strong. And then the HRRR actually kind of agrees with that too. So tomorrow's almost, it's kind of 50-50 on a derecho. Derecho pretty much is a very large line of damaging winds that extends over a very large swath. Yeah, I forgot the exact definition because they changed it again, but I know it's a very long time. It's like damaging winds over like a 400-mile track or something, 300. I used to know it by heart when it was an easy definition, but I'm pretty sure they changed it to like 400 miles of damaging winds. And you have to have like a specific amount of significant damaging winds of 75 miles per hour or greater between certain miles of a point. So, like if you have 75-mile-an-hour winds, 3 reports of 75-mile-an-hour winds on the first 50 miles of the derecho, and then it skips like 25 more miles before the next 75-mile-an-hour wind gust, that may not be classified as a derecho because it didn't have significant damaging winds long enough across its entire duration. So they changed it to a much more technical definition. It used to be easy. It used to be a line of severe thunderstorms stretching about 60 miles from relatively northeast to southwest, and then tracking to the east southeast for 240 miles, just staying severe that entire time. And I saw somewhere that now they even take into account damage that it's done. And if it doesn't hit a certain criteria for damage dealt, then it won't hit a derecho, even if it's hit all the other criterias. So it's a lot more difficult to get a derecho now than what it was, 5 years ago when that criteria was extremely simple. Do you see the Sunday 10 tour expanding at all? I'm not impressed by the tornado risk tomorrow by any means. It depends on the scenario. If this scenario is more likely, they may expand that 5% slightly more to the west, and the 10 sig may come just a little bit more west. But that's the only expansion I see being possible. I don't think they'll shift it further south, and then I think instability is too weak further north. So if storms fire early, they may shift it a little west. I saw someone talk about Maryland. It's so difficult. It is so difficult. We really don't know the full extent of Monday's severe threat until tomorrow. Until we figure out this timing with these severe storms. Because if that cold front is 3 hours quicker, that makes a complete difference. That could be the difference between Maryland getting a line of 40 and 50 mile an hour winds, or a line of literally 70 to 90 mile an hour winds. So I would just stay hyper weather aware. I would prepare for significant damaging winds upwards of 80 miles per hour, hail upwards of 2-inch in diameter, and a couple tornadoes, maybe even 1 or 2 strong. That's what I would prepare for if you are anywhere across. Let me clear this out. Anywhere across this yellow and orange region, especially the orange region, which the orange encompasses much of Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, much of Maryland, much of Delaware, and even into south central, southeastern PA. And for tomorrow, it's much of the same as well, just a much larger area. Tomorrow is almost the same threats. You're really looking at the same ordeal. Upwards of 2-inch hail, upwards of 80, maybe 90 mile per hour winds. I think tomorrow might have a higher damaging wind threat. At the moment, tomorrow might have a higher damaging wind threat than Monday. Prefrontals on both days are possible, but not likely. And right now, prefrontals on Monday look very sloppy, and then prefrontals tomorrow, any prefrontals that do form are going to have to form just in front of the line, and will likely be pretty short-lived as the line catches up to them relatively quickly. I don't expect a notable prefrontal threat. But it is definitely possible on both days. Warm front threat for South Carolina, North Carolina for Sunday. Garbage. I looked at that, run a 2-sig tour tomorrow out here in the Carolinas for North Carolina, South Carolina. The small expansion there as the warm front lifts north. There's a chance for some mini supercells extremely late tomorrow night into early Monday morning, but the environment is going to be barely favorable for tornadoes. It is going to be a extraordinarily low cape and extraordinarily high shear type of environment. So like you're looking upwards of 400, 500, 0 to 3 kilometer SRH and 250 cape. So I wouldn't rule out a tornado or two. And if a tornado or two does occur, I wouldn't rule out one of them being strong. But it's a very low risk. And the 5 hatched, I don't know. You're looking at a line of damaging winds. That's the biggest thing you're looking at. Yeah, you're looking at a few tornadoes, maybe one being strong. But I'm just not very confident in either of these threats. Really, like normally on higher end echelon days, I can confidently say what hazards we're likely going to see. But there is definitely some models that make me very skeptical that both of these days could significantly underperform. So I'm not sold on either one of these being a higher echelon damaging wind event, but the ceiling is there. Both of these could end up being two very notable, widespread, significant damaging wind events. But both of them could also end up being next to nothing. So low floor, high ceiling. Like the HRRR and the NAM 3K both don't want a really good severe weather threat on either days. And yeah, like the GFS, which I know it is the GFS, but no, the GFS is more on board with a more widespread severe weather event tomorrow. It's not as on board with Monday though.
Seriously.
You gonna go?
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you maybe tonight. I don't know.
If anything, it'd be late.
I'll be up. I
All
probably
right.
won't be up too late though.
All
Probably,
right.
I probably won't be up past like 1 a.m. because I
That
have
should be fine.
probably a big day for severe weather tomorrow, and then definitely Monday. But I know tomorrow morning, if I'm not gone tomorrow morning, I'm going to spend a lot of that time preparing. You should too.
Yeah. No, for sure.
You should make sure your family's also aware of the threat because you can chase
Yeah.
and avoid it or go towards it. Just you should make sure they're aware of it. My
Yeah.
family knows about it, but I've already told them that it's probably going to go by with relatively without a whisper because I'm not in the main risk. I'm in an enhanced, but knowing how things go over here, the mountains typically save us like they did on our last moderate. So, all right, you have a great night. I'll talk to you either tonight or tomorrow.
Alrighty.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah, they are talking about an upgrade to a moderate for day 3 for Monday. Most likely proxy. Yep. Yeah, both tomorrow and Monday will likely feature damaging winds around or greater than 80 miles per hour. Thank you, by the way, what's up for the $10 donation and the kind words. I appreciate that. Both days would likely, if both days go moderate, it will likely be for damaging winds on both days. Like I said, this tornado outlook, I'm iffy on the 10 sig. But, I mean, if prefrontals fire, there's a chance for a few strong tornadoes if we can get prefrontals going. But I was honestly pretty surprised to see them upgrade a 10 sig tor. Yeah, some monitors on the table for both days for wind. Do you think a 60 sig wind risk is possible tomorrow? Lord have mercy. What is it with people and risks? Normally you guys are more focused on the hazard. Today you guys are moderate, high, 60 sig, 45 sig. I even saw it before the stream started. You guys were going ham on the SPC, what risks they could do. It does, I don't know. Sure, it's possible. It's also possible they go down. It's also possible it gets downgraded to a 30 sig wind risk. It's also possible they go 5% tor and downgrade the tor risk. It's possible they go 15 sig. Anything's possible. I don't know. I'm not the SPC. I can give a guess on, what's most likely, but yeah, it's possible they go 60 sig for wind tomorrow. Do I think it's likely? Heck no. Heck no. No way. I don't think it's likely one bit. Any chance of 10 sig tor expands? See? Just like that. Yeah, there's a chance. I don't know if it will or not because I can't see the future. Yeah, there's a chance it could expand in any direction. The most likely direction is west, but I have no idea. It's more likely 45 sig too. Yeah, both days. I would be pretty surprised with the 60 Sig 2, but it's possible for both days. I mean, the upper aerodynamics support it, that's for sure. It's just a matter of if we get enough cape in front of the line. I mean, shoot. Like Monday especially supports it. If we had more cape on Monday, we would definitely be looking at a huge historic derecho if we had more cape. We'd be talking about a derecho if there was more instability depending on how far north. I mean, we would be talking about a derecho from like Canada to the Carolinas if there was just more cape. But thankfully, we don't have a lot of cape on Monday. And the quicker that front is, the lower cape we're going to have. So if that does, if that cold front continues to speed up, the quicker that cold front goes, the less daytime heating we have. Yeah, there's snow possible in the deep south. No one's talking about it because it's not going to accumulate. You could get 1/10 of an inch in some spots, but it's not going to be significant. So that's why pretty much no one's talking about it. Of course, the blizzard on the north side of this, by the way, y'all, it's obviously going to be historic. Widespread swath of, why did it get a sound? Widespread swath of 2 to 3 feet. I mean, most of these are showing 2 to 3 feet. Euro, GFS, NAM. Most are showing that large swath of 2 to 3 feet. Then you have your ensembles. Even your ensembles here. GFS ensembles also in between 2 to 3 feet. Oops. This is the new GFS. I don't know if I saw this. This is what I look at, by the way. This is what I'm looking at here. Comparison, previous runs. I told you it probably couldn't go any further east. I told you. We've had an east trend on the GFS this whole time, and we have just shifted west for the first time in like 24 hours. Actually, for the first time in ever since the 12th. First time in 48 hours, the GFS has shifted west for this threat. It was only so far east it could go. We'll have to see if that keeps up with the 0Z run or if it just goes right back. See if Cape's any higher. Yep, Cape is a little bit further west, but it's not really higher per se in Central NC, but it is definitely further west. I plan on it, Ben, but I'm not sure how to stream it. I really don't know how to stream it because I need radar. It will be deadly if I don't have radar, and if I only got one device, so I'm really unsure. Yeah, but I can do that, Grumpy Grandpa, but how am I going to stream with it? You know, I have a hotspot, but that hotspot runs horribly. It's not easy to storm chase when you're on a budget. I've got a dash cam, but there's no way to connect it to a live streaming software or anything like that or service. I did it with my phone, Ben. There's a second device, and my dad has a second device that I can use, but he needs it for work. So when it's on a work day, I can't use it. And then I've thought about Lucky. Lucky really wants to, like, he is really wanting to live stream on his channel like crazy. But I could like use, he's got 3 devices, so he would use his phone, 2 of his phones, one for live stream, one for radar. So I was thinking, you know what? Oh no, he needs that for navigation. Never mind. It's just going to be so difficult. The problem with live streaming and chasing is you start getting overwhelmed with tasks. Because if I'm trying to drive, live stream, look at radar, manage my gear, manage what I'm doing, the environment, what storms are the best, where I'm going, all these things, all on me, and normally it's just too much. It's too much for me. I don't have a $30,000 budget. Gas money's expensive enough as is, so. And I would much rather focus on trying not to die and trying to get a tornado than live streaming it. But if I can get out there like early, like if this front slows down and I can get out there early, then I can do like a pre-chase live stream. I don't want donations from viewers. I don't. I appreciate it for sure. It helps greatly, but I'm never gonna encourage you to donate. It's there if you feel like it, you know? If you want to, great. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. I measure my success in how much people we can reach with the word about weather, not in the money that I make. So, like having over 100 people right now seeing these weather outlooks, that is way more valuable than any donation to me. I don't know. The thing that I'm most certain about for both of these days is probably the tornado side of things. Honestly, damaging winds is pretty much a given on both of these days. I mean, it really is. Both of them are pretty much given high end damaging wind days, and hail is pretty much a given tomorrow with any prefrontal supercells here and here. And then on day 3, I'm sure hail will be a given across any prefrontal supercells that form in Indy or Virginia. But the tornado threat, even this for tomorrow, like the line could be so strong that it just bows out. And I think the RRFSA shows this pretty well, where the line bows out so intensely. But even in this case, you could see these little indents here. So that's why they went 10 sig, because even if it does bow out intensely to the point where it can force things out flow dominant, and we could still see spin up tornadoes. So I think we could see tornadoes on both days, but I'm not confident in saying a tornado outbreak is likely on either day. I'll look for Charlotte. Yeah, main risk is Monday. Monday, Charlotte is in the level 3 out of 5 enhanced. And this is one better. This is the probability for general severe weather. So to your east is a 45% every 25 miles of a given point, and you're in a 30%. So the east side is just to your east is in the highest probability right now. So most likely, again, there's some uncertainty on the line, but most likely Charlotte, the potential for a few tornadoes, maybe even one strong, 1-inch hail. And the biggest threat is definitely wind gust up to 70, 75 miles per hour. The main risk, though, is in that red and pink area. Significant tor risk in southern Mississippi is very conditional. Let's see. Sam, your risk is overnight, so I don't think it will be significant for you. You can, just of course make sure you're hyper weather aware. Your best chances for significant damaging winds, upwards of 70 miles per hour. But in terms of the tornado threat and the hail threat, I don't think either of those will be significant. But it just depends on that timing of the line, because if the line slows down, your threat goes up rapidly. And if the line speeds up, well, you're probably just going to get a bit of rain. And that's what makes this so hard to convey the most likely scenarios. We just simply don't know. So, yeah, really the main reason why I'm so skeptical on this and why I'm not doing a very good job at conveying the hazards here is because two of our main models, the HRRR and the NAM3K, don't agree with all the others. And like they're just not in good agreement, man. I mean, it's just not common you see this much disagreement. Like, look at the differences between all of these. This is our trend on the NAM. And you can see it just keeps flip-flopping all the time. And then look at the differences between the model runs themselves. All of them have a different positioning on the cold front. Every single one. HRRR, NAM, NAM3K, Euro, and GFS. Every single one is different. Not even 24 hours out. This is for 5 o'clock tomorrow. This is about 22 hours away. And they are all different. Normally we have a little bit of differences here and there. Like, dew points are a little different. Timing is slightly different. But, like, these are huge. Like, look at the gap. That is a giant difference in the cold front between the NAM and the HRRR. Oh, I'm chasing no matter what. I'm definitely chasing. The problem is it's just difficult for me to stream it. North Carolina already has a bad road network, bad cell data, bad terrain as is. But with Lucky being with me, what we've thought of is taking one car. I really hope these storms aren't moving too fast. Yikes. 40 to 50 mile an hour storm motion. Oof. Yeah, but you could see here, if I go back over to here, this thread is just the same. Now, that's pretty consistent between the GFS and the Euro. That's not bad. But then the rest of the models don't really agree with that. And see, like, look, you have the RAP and the NAM are in great agreement. See that? That's like great agreement. That's expected. It's little differences, but pretty much great agreement right there. And then you have the NAM 3K, which is out on a limb all on its own. And then you have the Canadian, which is on a limb all on its own. And then you have the Euro and the GFS, which are close to each other. So it's like some models are agreeing with a said scenario, other models agreeing with a other said scenario, and then you've just got 2 or 3 models that are also in between. So there is some consistency between particular models, but when you look at them all on a widespread sheet like this, it's like there's no idea what's going to happen, which is why I'm shocked that the SPC put out a 45 sig already. But here's the wrap, and this is definitely one of the better scenarios in terms of tornado. Gracious, definitely one of the higher end scenarios in terms of tornado potential. You've got a cold front in here, and then you have a more of a little notching right there. Not notching, just more of an indent. More of an indent right in here. So that allows for a very favorable environment right out in front of that little indent right there. Oh, kind of like a dry line bulge. Kind of like a dry line bulge. So that allows for a really, really favorable environment ahead of that. That is undoubtedly one of the more high-end scenarios for Monday. Let's just take a nitpick sounding over here. I guarantee this is going to be corrupted, but we're going to wing it anyways and just do it. This is one of the first soundings I've pulled for Monday, so we're about to see this together. Eel. Eel. That is definitely a spin-up Tor threat right there, especially in a line. Atrocious veering with height. My word. Terrible veering with height. Terrible D-cape. Let me see. Okay, 3-cape. Your thermodynamics are pretty good. Your thermodynamics are pretty good. I will say that. You've got okay lapse rates, good cape, good 3-cape. But the veering is definitely a red flag right there. That's definitely something that is a huge issue. That's why I said eel right off the bat. And you can see that's reflected in the sounding. See how it doesn't have that classic curvature to it. It's just like, it's almost like a diagonal hodograph. Like, look at that. Not favorable. Probably wouldn't be much favorable for a prefrontal threat, to be honest with you. Now, this one might be more favorable for prefrontals here. This is Eastern NC ahead of the line. Let's see if we have better veering up here. Remember, this is the higher end scenario, too. A bit better veering. Definitely a bit better veering. A little less cape, quite a bit less cape, but better veering. You start with southerlies, and then at the lower level jet, you start going southwest, and then you are southwest in the mid levels too. So a bit better veering. I like that sounding a little bit better with the veering, but your lapse rates are a little lower, your cape is a little lower, and then still your hodograph. Bud's up here doing something. So it's not the best for sure, but it is definitely a strong Tor threat. It's a lot to explain a sounding, but basically this is a simulated look at the atmosphere. So at the top right, you have what the storms could look like typically on higher end days is the best way to read a hodograph. This pink is a lower levels. So that's your 850 millibar, which is this line right here. These are your wind directions with height and how strong winds are with height. This being the surface, this being the lower level, this being the mid level, and then this being the upper level beyond that. And then you have your wind shear down in here. You have your lapse rates down in here. You have your capping, which is what could stop storms from firing and inhibit them from firing. And then that little green 7.9 you see right there, it's actually 779. That is the instability, the fuel available for storms. So if you had a discrete supercell out in front of this, this is kind of a way of how you can draw the shape of it. So it would probably look like this. That would be a bit of curvature to it. And what that means is actually that should mean a probably a southwest to northeast trajectory. So your storm should be moving from down here to up here. That's why that hodograph looks funny. So you'd have kind of like a sideways supercell almost. That's how you would have it. Instead of us getting a classic supercell that looks more like this, it'd be more turned to the northeast. It'd be more crooked. Because storms are moving from southwest to northeast. So there's a lot with soundings. It is not easy to explain, and it is not easy to learn. It's not really something you can explain in one quick one quick comment. The best way to learn it would be to go watch Convective Chronicles sounding tutorial, which I think that's like, I don't know how long his series is, but I'm sure it's got to be like 2 hours. I haven't watched it in a long time, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I'll be live tomorrow afternoon. We'll be live early once again. With the tornado threat not being as notable, I may not be live long tomorrow. Tomorrow might end up being more of a preparation day for my neck of the woods as opposed to a coverage day. I will definitely be live in the early afternoon. You know, we'll do our little split coverage again, like we did the other risk. So we'll go live tomorrow, probably at 1. We'll aim for 1 because does this outlook come out at 2:30 or I forgot. National Weather Service outlook table. It is going to come out at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. You can see right there. So day 2 comes out at 1:30 Eastern. So the plan is to be live at 1 tomorrow. But I may have something to do in the morning, and if that happens, I'm going to have to push that back to 2. So between 1 and 2, I'll be live tomorrow. And we'll be live for maybe an hour or 2. And then possibly spark up another live stream in the evening. It just depends. Tomorrow can easily go boom or bust. You're going to Chattanooga, Tennessee? Man, I wish I could give you an accurate timing, but as you just saw, I mean, gracious, our models are all over the place. I'll give you the only model run that I can partially trust with timing here, because I think all other model runs are significantly off. You're looking at late. You're looking at late, for sure. So for your area, southeast of Nashville, most likely you're looking at a 10 p.m. or later for storms to start. So starting here, so roughly 10 p.m. here, roughly 10 p.m. in this area, and then going east 11 p.m., midnight, and then 12 a.m. Now that's, you can give or take an hour on that. So I don't think that's going to affect your travel much. But I would expect it to be in central Tennessee roughly about 10 p.m. and then eastern Tennessee roughly about midnight, 1 a.m. And West Tennessee, for those wondering, towards Memphis, should be probably about 7 p.m. So roughly 7 p.m., 10 p.m., 12:30, 12:1. That's roughly what we're thinking. Let's see here. Now that timing could change, but that's roughly just my thinking, personal thinking, 7, 10, and then 12. Which would put it in, I mean, if we just continue with that, gracious. I'm just going to keep 7, 10, 12. We'll say 2, 4, 6. Man, I sure hope it ain't that. I sure hope it ain't that, because that would be way too stinking early. 6 a.m. for me? Heck no. Let's see here. A derecho is possible tomorrow. We go to wind here. So that's the wind outlook for tomorrow, which is a very large chunk of the central U.S. If we just take a look at the expansion of this, storms go severe, say roughly western Arkansas. They stop being severe in western NC. That's 600 miles. Really hope it ain't this, but if it is from northeast to southwest, 700 miles. I highly doubt it will be that long of a line, but I mean, it would easily fit derecho criteria, assuming it does enough damage, which obviously we hope it doesn't, but it is possible. Let's see. Give me just a minute here. Oh, they no longer count? Interesting. Let's see. I mean, I still think it would be, at least a possibility, but man, I don't know if I want to read through all this just to figure out if it is possible or not. Well, then I could tell you a 60% wind risk is off the table. I mean, derecho or not, it's going to be significant. Either way, I mean, don't get too caught up in the definition. Just don't go around on social media saying, it's a derecho, unless it gets confirmed as one. It's not that difficult. Just call it a... If it's ongoing tomorrow and it's a very large line, just call it like a significant MCS or significant QLCS. Because that's probably what it will end up being. Oh yeah, I forgot 90 sig wind is the max. You know, maybe it could go 60 wind. Never mind. Never mind. I was thinking, for some reason, I was stuck on the old listing. I forgot we got 90 sig now. Never mind. So it actually could still go 60 sig wind. My bad, my bad, my bad. It's actually a very real chance it can. I don't think I'd say it's likely. We'll see what they do, but I'm sure we'll end up with a moderate if confidence increases in that line. If something like the RRFSA is going to be right, either way, we could get a moderate from a sig 2, 45%. Like what we have here is we have a 45 sig 1. If we have 45 sig 2, that could be moderate. Or if we just, I think, would that be moderate if it is 60% sig 1? Wind, 60% sig 1 would be moderate. Now, it would actually be a high risk if they double it. If they go 60% sig 2, that is actually a 5 out of 5. So, which one? You know, we're going to do a poll right now. Three poll answer here. Start a poll. So we're going to go 45% sig 1, which is what it's at now. 45% sig 2, which would be a moderate. 60% sig 1, which would be the same sig it is now, just upgraded probabilities. Or 60% sig 2, which would be a high risk. Let's see what you guys go with. I would say 45% sig 2 is what I would probably say. That is probably what I would go with. But another close one is 60% sig 1, so I'm curious if those two are going to be close. Oh, those two are going to be very close. Oh my word, those two are literally tied. Wow. It's neck and neck. So far, 7% thinks it stays the same. 4% thinks it goes high. Yeah. I mean, it's roughly a 50-50 shot. It really is, so. That poll makes sense to me right there. Well, looks like you guys are going more with 45% sig 2, which I agree with that. I think I would agree with 45% sig 2 more. See what the wrap has. Yeah. I'll let that run for a bit. I mean, it's like, it's side by side right there. Oh, speaking of side by side, there's a NASCAR race I should be watching right now. I forgot about that. Shoot. I wasn't supposed to be on here that long. Oh well. Because I'm not going to be watching NASCAR at all tomorrow. Ain't no way I'm going to be able to focus on NASCAR with a enhanced or moderate near my area the day following. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with the 45 sig too. If we get a 75%, I'll be shocked. That's why I didn't even put it as an option. You know what? 60% sig 2 is kind of making a comeback. It was at 4% and now it's at 17. It's low-key starting to make a comeback. I don't think it will take the lead, but it's taken third place. Pez 60 sig is definitely a possibility. It's 50-50. Considering the SPC now goes up to 90% sig 3. Yeah, 60% is very much on the table now. You forget it's not that type of criteria, I mean. It's not that type of criteria anymore. 60% Sig 2. I mean, I could see it. I could. I don't think it's likely, but I could see it. I could see it. Like if something like the RRFSA actually seems like a possibility, I could see it. I highly doubt it, but I wonder if I could show you the RFSA's tracks on here. Nope. Dang it. Now, yeah, Pez, if this was the old criteria and we were talking about a 60% SIG wind like a year ago with that type of outlook, the old graphics, yeah, I'd say it's impossible because those are extraordinarily rare. But I could see it go either way. I could see it. I don't think it's going to stay the same. I think it's going to get upgraded one way or the other. I think 45 Sig 2 is likely. I think 60% Sig 1 is likely. 50-50 split on those. I think 60% Sig 2 is possible, although nowhere near as likely as the other two probs. And I don't think they'll keep it the same. But who knows? Maybe the 9% that said 45 Sig 1, which is the risk we have now, maybe you guys will be right. Also, you know all that arguing about models being all over the place? Look at the new wrap. I will... Golly, bro. Okay, this is for... Let's mark it so you can see it. The 21Z Monday. We'll mark that 60-degree dew point line right there. It didn't really trend that far west. Oh. It did. This just doesn't go out far enough. My bad. Let's try that again with 18Z. 18Z back here. So this is the new wrap, 21Z wrap model for 18Z Monday. There's the cold front. We go to the 15Z wrap, which is the older one. There you go. A huge jump west. A giant jump west. Long story short, this would be a significant threat for severe weather. This would be a high-end significant severe weather threat. So just uptrended considerably on the newest wrap model. If we got an upgraded moderate tomorrow, where would you place it? That's easy. I would place it from pretty much right where this 45 Sig is. I would place it from southeastern Missouri, eastern Arkansas, northern Mississippi, into west, maybe west central Tennessee, roughly in there. Maybe a little bit more east than that. Somewhere on the southern side of this 45 Sig. Roughly in there. If we got a 60 Sig, that's where I'd be thinking it would be. Or if we got a 60, or rather a 45 Sig 2. 45 Sig 2 is winning by a lot now. We'll do 3 more minutes on that poll. But yeah, tomorrow afternoon, I will go significantly more in depth with this severe threat because I'll be significantly more confident in it. And we'll also go a bit more in depth on day 2. But with how jumpy the model runs are, I didn't really want to do an in-depth model analysis because I know that they're going to change legit in 2 hours when the 00Z runs start rendering. I mean, shoot, you just saw it in this live stream. Our model ones are actively changing the severe weather threat for day 3. It legit just changed. I wonder if that changed for this event too. Why is there so many numbers up here? Why is there so many numbers up there? What's up with that? 21Z on Sunday. Purple line right back in here. 15Z. That didn't change nearly as much as day 3. That was actually a little bit, just a little west shift, but nothing overly significant. Definitely a decent shift west. But nothing like the shift west on day 3. That's stage yellow. Dang, that's a long yellow. Pez, who's winning? Look at the scoreboard. Control C, Control V, the top 5. Yeah, I think we could have back-to-back moderates. Both for wind. I don't think we'll have a moderate for Tor on either day. I would be pretty... The only way tomorrow goes moderate for Tor is if we get a 60 sig 2. If it's a high risk for wind, I think it could go moderate for Tor. That's like the only way I see it going moderate for Tor. I don't really think it's much of a possibility because the environment's just not... I don't know. I don't know, man. QLCS spam can go crazy sometimes, you know? If they do upgrade those wind probs like we're thinking, you know what? I think they could go 15, I almost said 50, 15% SIG 1 Tor. Which I don't believe is a moderate, is it? Tornado 15 SIG 1 is not a moderate. I don't think they're going to go moderate for Tor, but I think they could upgrade the tornado probability because of QLCS spam. I think they could do that. Because if there's increased confidence in a widespread damaging line with likely embedded tornadoes in it, they ought to increase confidence with the tornado threat. So I think that is possible. I don't think a moderate for Tor is possible, which would be a 15 SIG 2. But I think for QLCS spam, they could. Yeah, exactly, Indiana. Exactly. I think we could get QLCS spam where it's a lot of like EF0 to EF2 tornado spam. Which is SIG 1. SIG 1 is max intensity of EF2. Because I gotta remember, this isn't the same. It's pretty much a completely different categorical risk outlook from the old SPC graphics, 2 weeks ago. Like, if this was the old graphics, there's no way it would go 15 sig Tor. But with the new ones, a 15 sig 1 Tor is enhanced. It's going to take a lot of time to get used to that. Like, when people were talking about a 60% wind risk in the chat, I was like, heck no way. Then I remembered we got 90% now. I'm like, oh, well, never mind. Maybe at this point. That's going to take some getting used to. But I noticed the SBC is under fire a lot for this outlook. I think it's still great. I think it is still great. I don't get why people. It's CIG. It's conditional intensity group, not significant. What was it? Significant something. SIG was significant. It was an abbreviation for significant. Significant was actually SIG, SIG was an abbreviation for significant. CIG is an initial for conditional intensity group. There you go. Two completely different things. It is CIG, conditional intensity group 1, which you can see here. And then if they add one, it would be SIG group 2, CIG 2, or CIG 3. It takes some getting used to, but I think it is really, 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 really helpful. Because what this outlook conveys right now, this outlook conveys a large area is likely going to see extremely widespread damaging winds that are likely not going to be like destructive level. A widespread 60 to 70 mile per hour damaging wind event. That's what this message conveys. Now, I think they'll most likely end up upgrading to a 45% SIG2, and then that will convey, wherever they put it, it will convey, hey, this area is a focused point for significant damaging winds of 84 miles per hour, or 85 miles per hour, destructive damaging winds. You can still say hatched, because it's still hatched. But the best way to convey it is saying SIG 1, SIG 2, SIG 3. That's the best way to convey it, and I got to get used to that but you could still say hatched. It's just going to be harder. Because for SIG 1, it's not as bad because there's only one hatching, so you could just say in this hatched area here. But when you get to another hatched area, then you got to say in this hatching here, said risk, hatched risk here, hatched risk here. Whereas it's easier to just go SIG 1, SIG 2, SIG 3, which we only have SIG 1 right now, but I was just saying, it's easier to say SIG 1, SIG 2, SIG 3. It's just going to take a while to get used to. Which I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm not fully used to it, but I'm getting there. What I'm going to have to do is, the hardest thing is going to be memorizing each intensity. So SIG 1 Tor is max intensity EF2. SIG 2 Tor is max intensity of EF3. SIG 3 Tor is max intensity of EF4 or EF5. SIG 1 damaging winds is 74 miles per hour. SIG 2 damaging winds is 84 miles per hour. SIG 3 damaging winds is 94 miles per hour. SIG 1 hail is 2 inches in diameter, maximum. And then SIG 3 is 3.5 inch hail, maximum. There you go. I remembered all of them. I'm shocked I remembered it all. All of them are max intensity. So max EF2 Tor, max EF3 Tor, max EF4 or EF5 Tor, max 74 mile an hour winds, max 84 mile an hour winds, max 94 mile an hour winds, max 2 inch hail, max 3.5 inch hail. Actually, one thing I haven't figured out, y'all, honestly, I've seen the community say it both ways. Is it, for wind and hail, is it maxed or is it equal to or greater than? Because I've seen people say a SIG 2 hail is max hailstones of 3.5 inch in diameter. And I've also seen people say SIG 2 is hailstones likely at 3.5 inches or greater. And same for damaging winds. I've seen people for SIG 1 damaging winds of 74 miles per hour or greater likely, or the other group, 74 mile per hour winds being the max likelihood. I think max probable makes the most sense for now. I think that's what it is. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and head off. I will see you guys tomorrow between 1 and 2 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you have that notification bell set to all. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe with that notification bell set to all so you know when I go live tomorrow. Hit that like button on this live stream on the way out. Share the stream with your family, friends, social media. Like I said, I'll see you guys between 1 and 2 p.m. tomorrow. And we'll be live from roughly 1, 2 p.m. Eastern all the way till probably like 4 p.m., maybe a little longer. And then we'll end stream and we might pop back in tomorrow evening, depending on how late it is. So I plan to do 2 streams tomorrow, but I also need enough time to where I can get stuff ready for the storm chase on Monday, because Monday will likely be the biggest storm chase of my career thus far. It's that big. It is that big. It is likely going to be the biggest storm chase of my career, so I have to prepare for that and make sure I've got all the proper precautions and safety measures in place on my vehicle as well. So with that being said, I will see you guys roughly between 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate mods for Mod and Chat. There's that poll. Take a screenshot of it. Remember it. Whatever you like to do, I'm going to take a screenshot of it. Hey, instead of it being 6-7 votes, it's 7-6 votes. So we can remember that. And we'll see the percentage of how many people were correct tomorrow when I go live between, again, 1 and 2 p.m. Eastern time. So, again, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you're hyperweather aware. Get those tornado plans in place. That's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I'm going to get the tornado preparedness plan in place. Make sure my family knows where the safe spot is. And, yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe. Watch the severe weather. See you between 1 and 2 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Saturday night. Goodbye. Stay safe. Have a great rest of your Saturday night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow between 1 and 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you much for my chat. Goodbye.